Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my Spiral Abyss guide. So this is going to be for all levels and all floors of the Abyss. I'm going to try to go more in detail on floors 5 to 12, well after 5 because that's when you need 2 teams. But for 1 to 4 I'll give you guys a quick explanation on that too in case you're stuck there. And honestly this should make your life way easier because there's so many misunderstandings with Abyss and how to gear your team and how many characters you need and all that good stuff. And I can't wait to get into it, so let's go. I'm just going to start with some super basic stuff in case you guys don't know. Floors 1 to 4 you need a team of 4, right? But after floor 4, in case you haven't been here, you need 2 teams of 4. And this is when people start getting scared. They're like, oh my god, I need 8 characters. I need them to be maxed. I'm going to get destroyed. How do I even do this, right? So I'm world level 4, which means past AR 35, right? And I've beaten floor 10 last week. Now it reset, so I got to go do that stuff again. But, and I did that pretty easily. And if you look at my characters, they're not that high level. Like these two are, but after that, they're not that high level. So maybe wondering like, well, how do you beat Abyss with only 2 good characters? Well, that's the biggest tip I can give you guys. And that's to manage your resources efficiently with how you're building your teams. And that's why I want to show you guys how to build teams for Abyss. So obviously team building in the Abyss is super variable based on what heroes you have and what floor it is and all that. But what doesn't change is the fact that you need 2 DPSs, 1 for each half. And these DPSs you're going to keep for every floor. It's going to be the same ones. And these are the 2 characters you're going to invest all your resources into. Now, the reason for this is because obviously in Genshin, you're super limited on resources past like AR 25 or whatever. You're always going to be short on resources. So you want to make sure you spend them efficiently so that you have enough to max your characters. You're not going to have 2 teams of level 70s or 60s or whatever your max is unless you're spending a ton of money on the game. So what you gotta do is you have to max 2 DPS characters. You pick 2 that you like. If you're free to play, there's a ton of options, honestly. You don't need to pay to get good DPSs. Like Razor you can buy in the shop if you have Starter Glitter. And if you don't, you can use Zhangling, you can use GOMC, you can even use Amber, you can use whoever you want, right? I personally got lucky. I have Diluc and I have Kaching, right? So these are my 2 carries. And these are the ones that I spent all my resources into. And after that, you want a healer per team ideally. So I have Barbara, I have Noelle. And then after that, it's very dependent on what the leyline disorder is, but mainly what the enemies are. And I'm going to show you guys that in a little bit. But the main thing you have to know is you want to spend almost all of your resources on those 2 heroes, those 2 carry heroes. And from there, everything becomes so easy because you're going to have 2 heroes that hit like a truck, and then the rest are just your support heroes that assist, and they don't need the best artifacts because they're only there for elemental effects, to break elemental shields, and for all the stuff that I'm going to show you guys shortly. So before we go any further, let's just talk about the floors so you guys know what to expect. So floors 1 to 4 are the ones where you only need 1 team, obviously. But the leyline disorders for these 4 buff a certain element. So Pyro, Cryo, Anemo, and Electro respectively. Now obviously you want to try to maximize your usage of this element and try to bring that character. But even if your main carry isn't a Pyro or a Cryo or whatever it asks you, that's okay. Because you can just swap them in, use their elemental abilities, like their skill and their ult, and then you can just still use your main carry to just whack them with like a claymore or whatever you're using. So it's not that big of a deal, but obviously make sure you pay attention to the leyline disorder. I cannot stress this enough. It's so good. So after floor 4 it becomes a bit harder because you have 2 teams of 4 this time, as I showed earlier. But it's really not that bad as long as you pay attention to the leyline disorder and you have 2 characters that are just carrying you throughout everything. So I'm going to go through my team setup and team building a bit later because first I have to tell you guys something that literally blew my mind. I was stuck at floor 7 forever, okay? And this is the floor with a bunch of Fatuis, which are very annoying in case you've ever run into these guys. This floor really teaches you how important elements are in this game. And if you guys don't know this, I'm going to show you a clip in a few seconds. And basically, you got to know that against these enemies, you are useless when they activate their shields unless you have the perfect, like the right element to break the shield. So even if you have a maxed out, like let's say a maxed out Diluc, right, who's a Pyro character, once this Electro Fatui Skirmisher, it doesn't say Electro, but he's definitely Electro, once he activates his Electro shield, your Diluc is going to be useless. You have to swap to a Cryo character to break the shield, right? And I didn't know that, so I was like not doing damage. I was like, what the heck's happening? And then, yeah, so obviously if you guys don't know that, that's a huge tip, and I'm going to show you guys what I mean with a clip in like 2 seconds. Alright, so I forgot to show you guys this, but keep in mind before you see the next clip that my Diluc is level 70, and my Chongyun is level 2, okay, without artifacts. So I'm going to show you guys something pretty crazy here. If you look right now, this Fatui hammer dude has a electro shield on him, right? So look at the damage my Diluc is doing. That's nothing. And this is a fully maxed level 70 Diluc, right? He has like my best weapon, best artifacts. Then when I switch to Chongyun and I alto them, look at how fast that shield goes down. So basically what I'm showing here is like, and then after that shield's broken, my Diluc shreds them. Like look at the damage difference between the start of the clip and the end of the clip. Alright, now that the basics are covered, let's go to why you guys clicked on this video, right? I'm going to give you guys how to build a team for every floor. So the main thing you want to do, and this applies to every single floor, is you want to look at what enemies you're fighting against. So you want to click on each of these chambers and look at what enemies you're against, and then that'll tell you how you build your team. Also, the ley line disorder is really important, but that's more of on like playstyle than team building. But it depends, right? Like here it's you want an artifact for crit, and here it's mainly playstyle. So make sure you read the ley line disorder, but for team building and for to make this simpler, I'm just going to focus on the enemies you're up against. So in this floor, right, there's a Hydro and Cryo on first half, right? What does that mean? That means that for Hydro, to break the Hydro shield, you need Electro. Cryo works too, but I'm pretty sure Electro is much better. And then for Cryo Mage, you want Pyro, right? So we need Pyro and Electro first floor. And then second floor, or second half, sorry, you need counter to Pyro, which is Water. And what's nice is usually it's the same across every chamber, but let's just, let's make sure. So here, still Cryo on top and still Pyro on the second half. And then same thing here. So team building should be easy here, right? You have to make sure in the first half, you got your Pyro and you got your Electro. And then in the second half, you need to make sure you have your Water, right? Now, your Hydro, sorry. So what's cool here is that let's say your DPS is not a Pyro, right? Let's say your DPS is Razor, okay? You can still take Razor on the first floor and then just have a Pyro like Zhang Ling come in, swap to her Guba, drop it down like you saw in the previous clip, like you saw how effective my level 2 Chongyun was. You can just drop the Guba and that'll take care of the Cryo shield, and then you can swap back to Razor and destroy them, right? Although Razor's not bad against Cryo, but just as a general rule, your secondary characters don't need to be leveled to be efficient. But since one of my carries is Pyro, I'm going to put the Pyro one on the first half. Second half will have my other carry. And then I also need Hydro, I can't forget. And on the first floor, I also need Electro. But honestly, it's fine with even like a level 20. It doesn't really matter. So then I got to ask myself, well, what else do I put in this team? So I need a healer. You need a healer on each floor. You need a carry and a healer on each floor. And the rest is all about elements. So since this floor you don't need that many elements, and other floors you're going to need a ton, but for floor 8 you don't need that many, I can put whatever I want here. So if you have a good Venti or a good Sucrose, they're really good. The swirl effect works against almost everything. It's just nice, right? You can also put a second Pyro, can literally be Amber, because when you have two Pyros, it's Elemental Resonance, right? Every element does that when you have two of them. And double Pyro means you have 25% more attack, I believe. So that's just great here. Might as well. Second half, usually with an Electro carry, you want either Ice or Pyro with you. Ice will do the Superconduct, which reduces the enemy's defense. So Superconduct is great because it lets your main DPS do a ton more damage. And Overload is nice too. So you can choose one of them. I'm going to put Ice here. And then the last one, as I said, if you got a Venti, you can put them in. If you got Sucrose, if you want Fischl, double Electro, you can do that. If you want a Pyro, it's up to you. And honestly, it doesn't matter that much. They don't have to be leveled. As long as you have a leveled DPS on each floor, on each half, and then you also have a healer, you should be good. And obviously, you don't need 5 stars to clear the Abyss. I thought I should clear this before going any further. You don't need Diluc and Kaching like I have. You can run any 4-star characters or any characters you like. You can run the free-to-play comps. You can run Geo at main character. You can run Zhang Ling. It doesn't matter. As long as you have the proper gear on your carries and you don't waste resources on other members too much, you should be fine. You just got to make sure, as I said, the gears really is the most important part, honestly, but you also need to make sure that your comp makes sense, you have the right elemental synergies, and you're paying attention and abusing the leyline disorders, as well as the weaknesses of the enemies that you're up against, which you got to check before you build your team. Alright, let's go over some of the specifics. So you can see here my Diluc has a ton of attack, right? That's an amazing stat for your DPS, right? So you want 2 carries. These are the 2 you're going to be building. And just to show you guys that I'm not talking out of my ass, look at my support characters, right? Look at his artifacts. I have a +8 2 plus zeros, and this is what I brought to Abyss. I have a plus 16 because this feather used to be on one of my carries, and I just kind of swapped it over because the substats are trash. So like, your support artifacts, your support talents, your support weapon, they don't really matter that much, right? Obviously, like, I love Fischl, and she used to be one of my carries, so I have her basically maxed out. And that's great, but you don't need that. Like, Kaya's one of my carries, and he's pretty trash in terms of, one of my supports, sorry, and he's pretty trash in terms of artifacts and weapons and, you know, like, level. Same thing goes with both of my healers. I don't need my Barbara to be that high level. By the way, if you're running Barbara, make sure you bring this book. It's amazing, and it's only a tier 3 book. Anyways, so like my Barbara's level 30, right? My Noelle is 40, I believe. Wait, where is she? Yeah, 40. Oh, so is my Barbara. So like, you don't need them to be that high level to be efficient as supports. I bring Zhangling every floor, and she's level 24. So just, and the reason she's level 24, it's not like I can't level her, right? But if I do, then all these resources, all this Mora, all this XP books, I can't use on my Diluc, I can't use on my carries, right? And that's really what matters. So being smart about resources, being smart about whose talents you level, whose weapon you upgrade, who you ascend, all that stuff is vital for the Abyss. And I know I'm going in circles now, talking about like resource management a lot, but I can't stress enough how important it is, because a lot of people are struggling in the early floors of Abyss because they don't have sufficiently upgraded artifacts, because they're upgrading all their heroes and not really focusing on two carries to kill everything. So I want to talk about floor 7 because this is by far the hardest floor of the first 8. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys how I'd make a team for floor 7. So for the first half, you're going to need a counter to Cryo, so Pyro. You're going to need a counter to Hydro, so Electro. And then a counter to this guy who's Electro, you're going to need Cryo. So first half, you need Pyro, Electro, Cryo. And then second half, you need Pyro and Hydro. And then for a Nemo Boxer, you can bring whatever because it's a Nemo. And then same things, except there's Geoenchanters now, which is either Claymore or Overload to counter that shield. And then same thing here. Still the Electro. Well, actually, there's an Electro here too, so you need Cryo here. Because there was one. Yeah, so you also need Cryo for the bomb floor. So let me show you guys what I mean. So there's a lot of elements to remember, so obviously just make sure you remember them or write them on a notepad or something. So for the first floor, we need a Pyro, we need an Electro, and we need a Cryo. So you can bring Zhangling, bring whoever your carry is first of all. Mine is Diluc. That's my Pyro. So then I also need an Electro, can bring Lisa. And then I also need a Cryo, so I can bring Keo. Then we need a healer, so either Barbara or Noelle. So then second half, what do I need? I need Pyro and I need Cryo. So for Pyro, I have Zhangling. For my Cryo, I'm going to put Chong. And then I have 2 slots, so I'm going to put my healer. And then the last slot will be my carry, right? And so you can apply that logic to every other floor. 1 DPS, 1 healer, and anything else you need. Now, I want to make sure I make this clear, because I haven't really said this throughout the video. Obviously, it's nice to level your other supports, right? My Fischl being level 66 is great, because my Oz actually deals damage. So, while your priority should not be upgrading your supports, once you have an abundance of resources, you definitely can. So what I recommend, and I don't want to keep repeating this to annoy you guys, but it's important. Once your DPS characters are like fully maxed for your AR level, like let's say you're AR 30 and your Diluc is level 60 and you can't level them more, then you can invest some resources into your supports, your Fischl, your Venti, your KO, whatever you want, right? But just make sure your DPS are always maxed and make sure you're saving some resources for your next ascension. That being said, this video is getting pretty long and there's still a lot to cover, but this is the basics and this should get you through the Abyss, given that you know now how to build a team, what to look for, and just a general game plan on the Abyss and how to destroy it. Alright, that about sums it up, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if I forgot anything in the comments and I'll pin it. And let me know if it was helpful or whatever. I just love seeing positive feedback or even constructive criticism, alright? I'm new to this. I'm being honest. It's my second video. Like, obviously I'm experienced Abyss and all that stuff and I've been grinding it. But I am new to YouTube, so like, if I'm trash, let me know and tell me why so I can improve. But if you do flame me, you know, then at least sub so you can see my improvement as a creator, you know? Okay, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys later, and good luck grinding the Primo Gems and the 5-star artifacts.